Yeah, g'day YouTubers. Tinker O'Toole again here with another video. Someone was asking me the other day when they were cutting with the grain, while they're getting these long noodles coming out rather than chips. And if we're to look up in that top left-hand corner, there's a picture of some chainsaw chips, which is typically what you're going to get. They're actually some of them are quite big, those chips, because it's from Pinus radiata. So depends on how hard the wood is. Sometimes it can depend on how big the chips are. And when you cut across the grain, that's what you're going to get, little chips. But when you cut with the grain, you end up with these long noodles. And if we have a look up in the top left-hand corner there, you'll see a picture of noodles all over the place. This is what you get when you cut with the grain. Why is that? Why is that so? Well, first of all, let's just have a look at how fast a chainsaw is running, the speed. If it's doing anywhere from 10,000 to 14,000 RPM without any load on it, with load that could be reduced, say 9,000 RPM. If it's doing 9,000 RPM, it's going to be doing around 27 meters per second. That is a huge amount of cuts. When it's actually cutting into the timber, and if you read the Carlton, the complete handbook, you'll see that the cutting motion of a chainsaw chain has a rocking motion, and it's like little dolphins going in and out of the water. So it's a little bit like this, that when we cut across the grain, it has this rocking motion like that. And as the tooth bites into the timber and pushes you've got the heel and the toe. The toe moves off the bar, bites into the timber, and the raker prevents it biting in anymore. And through rotational forces, it'll straighten back up and pull the chip out, and it'll keep doing that, and the tooth behind it will do the same. Now, when we're cutting with the grain, exactly the same thing is happening, except it's a lot easier for the tooth to bite into the timber because you're going with the grain. So the duration of the rocking motion is longer. So if we say that the rocking motion going across the grain is like this, and the rocking motion going with the grain is a little bit slower, what will happen that you won't end up with chips, you'll end up with noodles. That's the explanation. Pretty simple, isn't it? But a lot of people don't know that. And a lot of people don't even know about the rocking motion, exactly how it works. And that's why it's also important that you have the right tension on your chainsaw. I like to, if I'm pulling the chain underneath, I like to sort of lift it up so that one link, virtually I can see one link. If I can't see one link, I'll have back off the chain so it's a little bit looser. And by the same token, don't have it too tight. One thing that's really bad about a tight chain, it'll wear everything out much quicker. And a loose chain is equally just as bad, because it'll wear, especially where the chain enters into the bar, that entry point right at the back, just in front of the sprocket, that can wear and splay open a little bit by having a loose chain rattling about, going in there. So that's not a good idea. Not to mention it can jump off and it could cause you an injury. So please take the time to tension your chain properly. So just to briefly recap, that rocking motion that works cross-cutting is much more aggressive than what it is when you're going with the grain. So the duration of the rocking motion is increased, and therefore you don't end up with a chip, you end up with a noodle. Now, obviously, if you're doing Pinus radiata, it's going to take longer. And some people actually do it on the ground. They'll just say you've got a log, and the log's about 1.5, just say it's over a foot in diameter, or around about a foot, and you want to make a fence post. Some people may cut it in half, and then after you cut it in cut it in half going down this way, they may cut the edges off and make a post, because you get 2 posts from one log. That's the whole idea why you want to go with the grain and make a fence post. And that's where you get the noodle in, as opposed to the chip. So, yeah, look, I hope that information helps. So the person asking the question, there's the explanation, and I've given you some pictures. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.